I won't read the whole book because then of course Udayan Singh would be very unhappy because the book has to sell. So let me read the last one, which ends on a little philosophical note, and it is called In Search of a Real Cop. And I wrote it several years ago. And since we were talking about little boys and girls, I'll tell you what happened when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, growing up in a small North Indian town, I did not know any cops. There were none in my family. My father, my uncles, and all other men in our family were farmers or academics. My mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and all other women in our family were full-time mommies and housewives, though none of them close to Tulsi or Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. And none of the other aunties and uncles in our neighborhood were cops. So although there were no cops in my family or in the neighborhood, I did know two cops whom I had never met. The first was the tall, dark and handsome young police inspector Vijay, played by Amitabh Bachchan. He came into my life when I was 5 years old and appeared in Eastman color on this huge cinema screen not far from home. As a boy growing up in the mixed economy era of the mid-70s, I was in awe of this man. Indeed, I wanted to grow up to be just like him. Inspector Vijay was a phenomenal cop who had two incredible attributes. First, he always stood for the downtrodden. Second, he always won. Now, Vijay didn't just win, he also lived big. You see, Vijay was no ordinary cop. He lived like a sultan, drove expensive imported cars, lived in large palatial bungalows, and had good-looking women chasing him all the time. And he always found time to find the real killer and bring him to justice. And Vijay did not believe in stupid, lengthy investigations. He, as a rule, always exposed the real villain in the courtroom during the trial. Now that is because for some reason I still can't figure out, whenever Vijay investigated a crime or a case, the real killer attended the trial and would always be found sitting in the audience in the courtroom. Now I tell you, if I murdered someone, and this is of course a hypothetical case I'm dealing with, and someone else was accused of a murder, the last place I guarantee I'll show up would be the courtroom. But when Inspector Vijay was arguing his point, tearing apart the cross-examination, the real killer always came to attend the trial and sat in the courtroom. I guess just to make sure that he got away with it. And as our handsome inspector came close to proving his point, the real killer would always jump up and pull out a gun and make an unsuccessful getaway, only to be overpowered by Vijay and sent to the cooler. It was an awesome performance. The second cop I got to know as a little boy was a man called Jagdish Raj. Now you would probably remember him as the person whose name figures in the Limca Book of Records for having played one character in a record number of movies. The man who always played a cop. Inspector Jagdish Raj, on the contrary, worked from modest police station buildings, lived in the police lines, rode a rickety old police jeep, and led a simple, ordinary life. He always wore a khaki uniform, spoke only when spoken to, rarely pulled out his gun, and he was not even a good-looking chap. He was no Greek god. He had a big fat belly, and he was no Romeo. Now when I was a little boy, I wanted more than anything else to grow up to be a flashy cop, just like Vijay. I wanted to have fun, a good lifestyle, a desire to catch powerful criminals in courtrooms. But now that I've been a cop for over a decade, I can tell you folks, Vijay is no longer my hero. My hero, indeed my role model as a cop, is Jagdish Raj. So why, you ask, has Inspector Raj become my hero? Simple. Because as an ordinary cop, he shows more character and certainly appears more real. It was awfully easy for Vijay to be a cop. He never patrolled the streets. Neither did he spend sleepless nights reading case diaries in poorly lit police station buildings. Instead, he spent more time singing songs and running around trees after pretty girls. He attended official meetings in civies when his superiors were trussed up like turkeys. His superiors always listened to him with rapt attention when he discussed crime. He was never questioned for his lavish lifestyle and flashy cars. He was never at fault. Inspector Raj, on the other hand, was never spared for his lapses. He was the last one to reach the scene of crime. His gun was snatched away a number of times. He was roughed up by the goons. Yet he always managed to take the criminal away finally. Also real. Think of the character, the sheer tenacity, and the Churchillian spirit of never giving that his character possessed. Movie after movie, Raj continued to play a cop, an ordinary individual in pursuit of justice against all odds, an ordinary man who never had it easy, yet he continued to do his job. Vijay was great entertainment, surely, but the older I get, the more I admire the pot-bellied Inspector Jagdish Raj. It is the likes of him that make you and me feel safer in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be a cop. And here's the book. Now you decide, would humor and police amount to contradiction in terms anymore? Let me remind you of what Oscar Wilde said. He said, I will not let my schooling interfere with my education. Well, Mr. Wilde, I'm slightly different. With due apologies to you, I would always let my policing interfere with my writing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the last that you've heard from me. I hope you enjoyed this little evening. I hope you enjoyed my stories. I doubly hope that you enjoyed the book. Thank you for being here on this very, very important day of my life. This is not the last that you heard of me, and I've just told you, the cop is at large and will continue to do so. Thank you so much for being here, and a special thanks to Zaidi.